All right, gentlemen. Glad to see you back.
Glad to see you.
Yeah,
Good.
man. Good to be seen. Good to be seen.
Right. All right. So
Not
topic.
viewed.
What? Well, yeah, I agree. Um, Viewed, carried, all that good stuff. So topic for today: should everyone have to do a stint in the military?
Urban Christian Veterans provides a safe place for Christian veterans of color to discuss the challenges you face in your daily lives. Being a person of color has its challenges. Being a Christian has its challenges. Being a veteran has its challenges. All of those factors being combined makes for a unique and sometimes difficult life experience that is seldom talked about in public forums. Thank you for tuning in to the Urban Christian Veterans Podcast. Here's your host, D. Allen Rose.
Thank you, Aaron, for that wonderful introduction. This is D. Allen Rose, and you are listening to the Urban Christian Veterans Podcast. Should everyone have to do a stint in the military? What are your thoughts on that?
Short answer, yes.
Ooh,
I agree.
Short
I
answer,
agree.
yes.
ooh, watch out now. Okay,
I agree.
say more.
And I could take it. Let's say you would have to do, and I'm just throwing a number out there. Let's say 3 years.
Okay.
Your first year, you have to go combat arms. The reason why I say that is because you might have people with access and privilege
Mm-hmm.
who might try to fulfill that requirement and get an office job so they don't have to
Yeah.
hit that mud.
Okay.
That's why I say that.
Excellent.
Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, as I stated previously, short answer, yes, I believe you should have to do a military stint.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think people will have a better understanding, especially when we look back at the last 25 years of people having to do multiple deployments and people losing families, people losing or people having serious injuries, and they can really understand the full brunt of what that is, the things that you have to deal with when you come back. So when you say thank you for your service, which seems to be, from my point of view, now more cliche-ish, not saying that everybody doesn't mean it, but it seems to be more cliche. When they say thank you for your service, you will really know what that means.
Yeah. I believe with the exodus of discipline that has happened in our society, like you can't discipline your kids and in public, you know how we used to be, how we were done.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents would be in jail if we were kids now, our parents would be in jail.
Mm.
But because they've been so lackadaisical on the discipline, mandatory time, like in Korea where they do the katusas, you either
Mm.
have to do you either have to do the military or the police, or you have to go to school if you got the money.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely will reinforce discipline. I always tell people, if you don't discipline your kids, there's somebody out here, law enforcement, that'll show discipline them for you.
Mm-hmm.
What they say, the unruly child becomes an unruly adult.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I just think we definitely should make them. It should be mandatory. I agree. Because these kids today, I couldn't be a school teacher today. It's crazy. How you see all this stuff and that they fighting the teachers and stuff. First day I'd be in jail. Um. Yeah, definitely. Just because it seems like there's no more discipline, and you see these kids who they always have something where the police are harassing or arresting teenagers at a party. We use that
Mm-hmm.
as an example. And then in handcuffs, the kids are super defiant and get your hands off, that whole thing. And they seen that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's a learned response to authority. They it's taught. They saw their parents, their uncles, somebody doing that, and now you're 14 talking about I know my rights, and you don't even shave. And
Mm.
and that's because the discipline is it's gone, point blank. So I definitely put them in some place where the discipline is mandatory, and then you have to teamwork, team build, um, common goal, and all that kind of stuff. Because this sports now, with everybody's a winner, and everybody gets a trophy, or I got little grandkids of 2, and they play soccer, they don't keep score, and I was like, and all us older grandparents be out there, we just be shaking our head. So it's just a bunch of kids running around kicking the ball, playing soccer, and I was like, your children need to learn how to handle not winning and rejection. They need to be done. That needs to be done at home, having a
Mm-hmm.
broken heart. You don't want them to be an adult, preteen, and then have to. That's why you get what we get today. That's what
Mm.
I believe.
And just to add on to what Reginald said with the teamwork and people coming together, because if you go back to basic training, your tech training, you're coming together from people from all walks of life, from all over the country, from different ethnicities, rich, poor, it doesn't make a difference, but you're coming together. And just think back to basic, when you had to come together with all these different people, all these different personalities, and you had to be the getter to say, get that barracks cleaned up so you could be out in formation in a timely manner. And that took a lot of cooperation. And regardless of your background, your ethnicity, your financial status, you had to play your part within that role.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you look at what's happening in society today, there's a serious discourse and divisiveness within our society. And it's not just here in the United States, you see it across the world. And when you have to come together and you have to work with people who don't look like you or have the same skin tone as you, then I think that will help you understand different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the military was good for that. Even though you might not have rocked with a lot of people, there were times where you had to work with those
Yep,
individuals and you had to put aside your differences, because get on a if you're on a guard point or something and you're about to engage, you're not worrying about where that guy is from. You're not worrying about his skin color. If you got the left, you're hoping he has your right, and
yep,
that's the bottom line. And I think
yeah,
Mm.
once you are put in those type of situations, then when you get out, hopefully you will hold true to some of those things that you learned while you were in service, and then you could take it forth going forward in your life.
Mm. Mm. Wow, y'all said a lot. I didn't know you was gonna jump out there like that. Yes, it should be mandatory. Okay. Well, let me play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Um, so all of the qualities that you mentioned that people may gain, whether it be discipline, sense of responsibility, so on and so forth. Do you not think that these qualities can be developed other places outside of the military, right? Whether it be college, employment, community service, apprenticeships,
it used
other,
to be from home.
right? So
Mm,
good point. Good point. Here's the thing. So you want the military to do what home didn't.
Okay. Unfortunately, everyone's home background is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, when you had situations that will put you in the environment to build those type of disciplines or character values, some of those things have been removed from the school system. For instance, I'll give you a perfect example. When I was coming through high school, there was shop.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the shop process, everyone had to build a mini house. It almost looked like a doll house, but it was just a framework. Just like if you see a house being built, when it comes to that point where all you see is the frame,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you had to do. Everyone had in your group had to build a wall. Somebody had to do the top, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
at the end, you would bring all the pieces together and make the house, and then you would vote at the end who would get to take it home.
Okay.
Okay. With that exercise, everyone had to ensure that their section that they were building was exact.
Mhm.
Otherwise, when you brought it together, it wouldn't work,
Right.
and you would have to make adjustments. So things like that, that's not in the school system. Unless you're playing a sport where you have to have that camaraderie, what else is there? Home economics. I remember being in home economics. I remember when the time when you had to cook, everyone had to come together and you had to cook a meals. Because I remember at my school in Prince George's County, Maryland,
Mhm.
especially when we were baking, teenagers, right after, early afternoon, midday after lunch, you get the munchies. So everybody knew when the home ec people were baking cookies or something, and you would have a whole slew of people wandering the hallways on a bath pass. Hey, can I get a cookie? Can I get this? Can I get that?
Right.
That type of stuff. We don't have those type of programs in the school system. They've been removed.
Mhm.
So granted, yes, some of these things should be done at home, but you have a lot of single parent households. And even if both parents are there, both parents are working, and that time and effort that's put in, not all parents are doing that. So your
Mhm.
mileage is going to vary. So it's not just being at home. There was a time where it was at home. It was the neighborhood who
Right.
can,
The village. You had the
the
village raise
village
us. Yeah.
that could raise you up. And that concept, for the most part, has gone by the wayside.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Unless you have a really close knit family, those type of values are not being instilled across the board. Uh, Fortunately for me, my boys, they received that
Well,
because we were very hands-on parents. But I doubt if everyone's going to be as hands-on as we were.
well, regarding the skills that you mentioned, let me say that would you agree that everybody is just not suited for military life, right? And if you put unwilling individuals into these critical roles, well, the military period, is it not possible that you could reduce military effectiveness because now you got somebody forced to be there? And let me say it a different way. There's an old saying or an old question that says, is it better to be a warrior in a garden or a gardener in a war? Right. And let's face it, some people are born gardeners. Some people are born warriors, or at least has the propensity to be warriors. And the military takes you and is supposed to make you that. But I'm sure in the military, I know I did. I know we ran across a whole bunch of gardeners that be like, okay, you go over there. you know, you go do what you do over there. And it no knock on them, but they're just not built for. Not everyone is built for that, right?
Yeah.
So
I would say, the military or some type of civil service.
Peace Corps.
So I know I meant that too, but like I'm only have that for an example is Korea, but you either be the police, or the military.
Well,
Now
Mm.
if they ain't set for
they're
the military,
military.
then they definitely should be going to the police
See,
force.
and I think we can cut it at maybe everybody should go to basic training. You know,
Mhm.
say okay, everybody
Right.
go to basic,
Yeah.
and then you get to choose from there and dial basic back in, make it a little longer, because they softened basic up too. They bringing the drill sergeants back to AIT. They took the brown rounds away for a minute.
Oh,
So
really?
yes, that was horrible. Being
Oh,
someone
wow.
who had to receive
Wow.
those kids, and then they just started passing, basic was a filter, and then AIT basic was a filter for your physical ability. You couldn't hack it physically. Basic weeded you out. But AIT was your mental ability. You couldn't do your job. You couldn't catch it. Then they just started passing people and say, "Oh, you'll learn it." I got soldiers who hadn't passed a PT test since they've been in the Army,
Mm.
coming straight out of AIT, and it's all. And it had what did it was 9/11. So in the absence of doing a draft, they took I tell people like this, they took the filter off the hose and they just let any and everything come in, so they wouldn't have to do a draft. You had all these people, these patriotic people, that soldiers came in just because of 9/11. And but they what they didn't tell us and or them is you can't kick a soldier out before 180 days. And I'm like, what? So they didn't enforce it when we were in that much. They're like, you fail so many PT tests. It was like, okay, you failure to adapt. That's how they got you out of there. Or
Mm.
you couldn't pass all these when you get an AIT, you couldn't pass all those tests, you're a cook. They was like, hey, we don't invested too much money into you. Now you're gonna be a cook because you can just read off the card and follow directions. As long as you don't cut your finger off, you gonna be all right. So maybe the the discipline part would be the mandatory part. I mean, would be, hey, go to basic. Then you wouldn't have to worry about the gardener and the warrior and, and all that. You just get you just get that basic stuff, and then because some of them don't even have that. We had what I call some of those kids had the clean clothes fairy, and it was like I had to tell my junior leaders. I said, you got some kids who came home from school, took off their clothes, and it dropped wherever they dropped it. And when they got home the next day or that evening, all their clothes was washed, clean, folded, and put away. And they grew up like that. And then you put them in the army, and I'm going in the room, and it looked like a war zone. It's like, what in the? I call it the clean clothes fairy syndrome. They never had to be made to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
that is a failure on us parents because we want to give our kids the stuff we didn't have. We don't want them to struggle. But if you don't balance that with responsibility and discipline, you're just going to get some spoiled little brats or princesses.
Yeah.
That's
What
what I
if,
had to deal with.
okay. What if there is a system where, okay, everyone will do a stint in the military, that you're getting prepared for it as you grow up. And that's something that is just made known as a norm that you would go to the system. For instance, right now we have the World Cup going on, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, your European countries, and I'll just pick Germany, for instance, their feeder leagues at the young level is tremendous. They will pick out kids from a young age and they'll get them into these programs. So before you know it, they're playing for the national team, and for the most part, they dominate. So with that same thing in mind, why not have it uh, set to start to prepare these kids for a life of initial service as they come up through elementary school, middle school, and high school, and make it a norm and make it known that this is something that you will be doing. When we were growing up, you remember the presidential physical fitness patches that used to come out every year? You had to do it.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or, well, they stopped that. Maybe, pick up physical fitness and
Yep.
start preparing these kids for that stint that they will have to do in the military. But
And
Well,
but and one last point: if we're not going to do the military, and you can't do the military, then have them do some other type of service for a stint, whether it's the Peace Corps, whether it's there was a program that my sister-in-law was doing, that it was under President Clinton, to give these young folks an opportunity to do different work type of things across the nation.
Mhm.
So if it's not the military, then have them do some type of service, go to some type of service entity to do
Yep.
that for a 2-year stint, and then move on to your, whether it's
Peace Corps,
college,
Job Corps. Yeah.
Job Corps, yeah, Job Corps, yeah, something to that effect.
Well, in regard to this preparation, throughout childhood to prepare you for service, the question I have is, one, it's going to cost money, and two, the value proposition. If you calculate the amount of money it's going to be spent per child, all the way through grade school, all the way up to now they're of age and now it's time to go serve. You mentioned the World Cup. The question is, okay, so is military service the World Cup for them? This is it. You've been prepared all this time to do what? A couple years in the military and you've met your obligation, right? I mean, that is is it going to be worth the amount of money that is spent getting you ready for, an obligation of 2 to 3 years of your life? One. Two, as a parent, perhaps, being military parents, you might not think this way, but what if there were other things I could spend my money on to prepare my child for that weren't military related? And because the end goal, I would think, is success and prosperity after a certain age. You want them to fly. And some may see this military stint as a delay. I got to go do this before I can go do that. And if I got to spend money prepping, which one would you rather prep for? So again, I don't, just a question, I know.
Yeah, but I do believe that, like we was talking about in the beginning, that would prepare them for dealing with multiple nationalities of people, having to have dealt with them and work with them. I think it would definitely enhance, because if you have some parents who owns a business, and now you're going to put your child in a leadership position, and he has all these different people, working for them, with them, and everything. You haven't prepared them to deal with that. Everybody knows bosses like that who the nepotism their kids get in there, and they're horrible because they're not people and all that. I do believe some type of civil service prepares you to be a more well-rounded adult, because they're not teaching leadership like that in corporate America hardly. You got to be in a big company to go to a leadership school or conference or something. It's almost, you see your boss, you do it. I was shocked when somebody told me. My cousin told me that, because I'm thinking we got A naught, B naught, PODC in the military, prepping you to be a leader,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not always like that. They don't have that at McDonald's, stuff like that. You the shift leader now because you've been there the longest. You know, every time I go in those fast food restaurants, you see them white shirts. They working harder than the people in the back
Like,
there.
can I say this? There is a case study that I know you're aware of. There was a case study of someone who did none of that and became president. Now what?
That's
Yeah,
that's the
was gonna.
world.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
the world. And
say.
we also have a president who was a C student. So that's
Right.
family and money, and and they have people around them and stuff like that. We unfortunately, they don't always listen to the people around them.
He
But
got a village. He had a village. A village
yeah.
got him to the presidency. I mean, you can't. I mean, now that case study exists, it's hard to justify everything you just said. Like, I mean,
No, but you got to have the money to do what the case study is doing. Everybody don't have that kind of money to push you to those heights and stuff.
Yeah.
So it used to be a time where the average person would be like, oh, I couldn't do that, you know. But you're right. Now you can get a clown and a chimpanzee and anything. As long as you got the money, apparently, you don't have to have the experience. And unfortunately, I don't like what that precedence is setting either.
Yeah.
We need to pass some laws that say you have to be a city commissioner, councilman, or something before you rise up the ranks. You need to know how to do something. Just sit you in there because you're a good businessman.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Crazy.
To follow up on what D Rose said, the cost, I don't think there would be necessarily an added cost
Hmm.
because for just the pathway through school, I think will prepare you. You might have to add a course here, a course there, maybe increase physical training. I think physical education has gone by the wayside in the school systems.
Hmm.
Maybe that's something that needs to be looked at a little stronger if you're going to fulfill the requirements to fill a military force. But typical reading and writing based mathematics would prepare you for a lot of the jobs are in the military. Uh, I didn't have any particular training. The first time I shot a weapon was when I went through basic training, and I did
Yeah.
pretty well. I had good
Mm.
training, and I was able to shoot pretty well. So, but I was an athlete. I was very athletic. I was one of those kids that always outside. And y'all know the deal. You've heard the stories. Parents say when you go out, be in before those street lights come in. Don't let those street lights find you outside. That type of thing.
Hmm.
So we all grew up like that. So for me, going through basic training, whether it's my AIT course or just regular basic and then airborne school, I didn't find any difficulty in it because the training was that they gave was sufficient. The manuals stepped you through everything, from the Dash 3 van we worked on D Rose. It
Hmm.
had step by step by step by step. You just had to read. And that's going back to what I just said, the basic fundamentals, read,
Uh,
write, arithmetic.
can I just add? I still
Yes.
got mine around here, man.
Stop it.
I
You
do. I still have it
got a
around.
Dash 3?
I got the
Man.
I got the manual, and
What?
you remember the
Wow.
thick bind? I still
Oh, I
got it.
know. I know what you're talking about.
It's around here somewhere. I digress. Apologize, but when you
That's
said that,
Oh,
crazy.
I got and when
man.
I found it a few years ago, like a few pages were stuck together. I had to, but I still got it, man, and I just gotta put my hands on it. But anyway, sorry
Uh,
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Society definitely has changed.
Yeah.
And Dr. Umar Johnson had said something. I was listening to him, and he said the deindustrialization of the United States, what broke the families up. And I was like, oh, and then he broke that down. He explained that, when all the factories left, you couldn't make like a lot of those factory workers, they had high school diplomas, but they were able to make a living wage to support the mom being at home to be the homemaker or whatever.
Hmm.
But the deindustrialization put the wives in the workforce, and that took away from that nurturing. Then you put all that on the teachers who are underpaid. Um, Also, doing some my own research, they I don't know which president it was, but they took away the National Endowment for the Arts, and that's when all of that stuff came out of the schools. So that's what paid for band and PE and home ec and it was that money was being perpetuated, the endowment for the arts.
Hmm.
And when they took that out of school, then they made it optional. You want PE? You want home ec? Like it wasn't optional for when I was in middle school.
No.
They had a block. You had a portion home ec, then you switched to sewing, and you switched to typing, and you sewing, typing, home ec, and it was something else, but it was mandatory. Um, that at least gave you a brief overview of what life is to come. And when
Hmm.
they took that out of school, and now you have to go to a charter school or a private school to get all that kind of stuff. Now look at our kids. They don't no PE mandatory. and all that kind of stuff. These kids are in the food and all that kind of stuff. Food went changed, and with that taking away the endowment for the arts, that hurt us as a society, I believe.
Yeah.
And I went to a Votech school in Tampa, so I had a shop. So I had a shop class. I took carpentry, and unless you put your child in one of those, you know, we're looking bad as a society. Because now, especially now, we're going all of this AI, just smarter, weaker kids don't want to go outside, vitamin D deficient, no sun.
Mm.
They don't have to worry about the street lights coming on because they ain't go outside in the first. They don't go outside in the first place.
You
Um,
know, my problem with that is why you bringing up some trauma now because yeah, I had, just like y'all, I had the mandatory things, right? But the thing was, I remember coming from Maryland. I moved down here to Georgia my senior year. Can you imagine that? My senior year of high school, we moved down. And a couple of things. One, because I took typing 1 and 2 up in Maryland, came down here, I had to take, I say it this way. I had to take data processing, right? That's what it was called back then.
Yeah.
But I had an advantage because I could type real well. So I got in data processing. I loved it. I took 1 and 2, i.e. I go into, IT after that. But here's the thing. Gym class was mandatory. PE was mandatory. But culturally, the things we did in PE down here, bruh, I almost failed PE because there was a whole segment of square dancing in PE. And you should have seen me and everybody who looked like me over on the side. We didn't dress out. We was, and they in the middle, you know what I mean? Round and round and all this, that, and the other. And we just sitting there looking at this. We not doing that.
I actually did square dancing, but we did it in elementary school. I remember the lady,
Really?
Miss Melanie. I still remember her.
Wow.
I remember her in Langley Park Elementary School, and we did that for like maybe 2 week stint,
Bruh,
and we participated in it.
almost
I remember
failed.
that.
Almost
Yeah.
failed. Now here's the thing though. Where I'm going with it is because there's no national standard.
Right.
Culturally, depending on where you live, you may have PE, and I guess the objective is physical education to get you moving.
Yeah.
But don't nobody want to move with some square dancing and whatnot. I mean, we used to love it when we come out there and they throw the ball out. Oh, basketball? Oh, we good.
Yeah.
Right? We good. But then we get out there. I mean, they caught us slipping, I think, the first day. Right? Because we didn't know. We get out there and okay, you lock arms and you go.
you go see Dylan.
All right, y'all got me today. And then to know that was going to happen for 3 weeks, that's a failing grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I almost failed PE. Can you imagine?
Crazy.
But that's what I'm saying. So you can say you want these things to be mandatory, but I think it's all about what you do, right? And then different parts of the country, all of these things have to, I think, there have to be an end goal. And if the end goal is to get kids moving in a way that is going to be conducive to what they want to do anyway, to where it doesn't feel like work, then I think that has to be taken into consideration.
Yeah.
And I don't know whose idea it was who thought I was going to want to square dance. Like, I don't know where that came from. Who came up with that?
Y'all should have had options. You could square dance or you could do this, but you got to do something.
Bruh, it was to the point where I would, like, you come into the gym to get to the locker room and you could see what you're going to be doing for the day. And if it wasn't nothing out there, but I don't even know what them things was. If that square dancing paraphernalia, I go right to the bleachers. I'm not dressing. I would much rather come in and see a volleyball net. Oh, I do that. But I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not.
Yeah.
And they didn't give y'all enough options.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dodgeballs, if they come out, I'm good. We can do that.
Yeah.
Kickballs, we can do that. But just
Yeah.
square dance, I ain't with that. So that's all I'm saying, man. You know, we want to make things mandatory, you know, and I just go back to what is the end goal? One is to, you know, get kids moving. Okay, physical. All right, cool. But if it's all going to lead up to military service, because I think that's where we started, you guys said, yes, it should be mandatory. I think, Reg, what you said was the military service can prepare you for stuff
Anything
after.
in life. Yeah.
It could, but can I say this? I know, without mentioning names, I know personally a handful of brothers who get a check right now because of just basic training.
Mm.
Okay. Let me be devil's advocate to
Feel
that.
free.
Okay. I'll mention 2 points. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't started the process, but I know when he was in basic training, he had his appendix removed. Okay.
Okay.
And I was very skeptical on moving on my stuff because I saw the stories, I saw what people were going through. I was like, I'm not dealing with that. I'll just deal with what I've got to deal with. And then this one guy online, he said something that was very profound. He said, I'll show you. If you see my finger, it's crooked. I did that playing football. I was tackled and I went to put my hand down. When I came up, it was like that. If that would have happened in the military, I'm just using this example. If that would happen while I was in the military, then I should be compensated for that. And the thing he said, by law, if you came in the military one way, everyone went through a physical, things were annotated down. But then how many ever years down the road, you exited out, changed,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was finger, PTSD, back issues, knee issues, whatever the case is, by law, you are to be compensated.
Okay.
All right. So if going through basic training, they have already signed on the documentation, they are in service. If, like my friend, appendix got removed or some heart issue or some other accident occurs while in service that changes you,
Mm-hmm.
then by law, you should be compensated.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what I have to say on that.
No. So the point I was making though
Okay.
is that there wasn't even any service that took place.
Okay.
The stuff that happened in basic training. And it's, I'll just say it's mental health related.
Okay.
Yeah, my ex-wife got put out of basic. She
Mhm.
was from St. Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Literally fresh off the banana boat. Had no clue,
The
We
banana
don't
boat.
want to say
nothing.
we don't want to say banana boat.
Come on.
Man. We don't want to say that.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, she getting basic. She couldn't understand why they were yelling at her. Why are you yelling? I can hear you. And I got coincidentally that got me a whole bunch of push-ups too, but I figured it
Mhm.
out, and she
Right.
didn't. So they put her out like 3 weeks in for failure to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
And if that didn't happen for that individual you're talking about, that's a failure on their part, because as soon as that person start to break down, they're supposed to be trained enough to say, okay, this first of all, this is a game, and if they can't, they're breaking down. They should have got that person up out of there, uh, because you will be a liability.
Well, there's a
And
few
if
of
they
them.
didn't do it, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few. And I'll just say the point I'm trying to make or getting back to is if the idea is that you're going to go through all of this stuff to prepare, and then the military service is mandatory, I guess the question, well, you've answered it already. You said why someone should go through these things, and you gave them all these characteristics that they will develop for having gone through 2 to 3 years of military service. And what I'm saying is that, or I'm just asking the question again. It's the question is, can someone develop these things without going to the military? And quite frankly, I'm sure we all know some people who've never served, but are stand-up people,
Yes.
highly, whether they be successful,
Yeah,
productive members of society, don't have disciplinary issues, any of those things.
that had to be taught somewhere.
Well, true, maybe. Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that.
Mhm.
But I'm saying to mandate military service when there are case studies that show that it's not necessary. Why mandate something that's not necessary? I guess is
Yeah, and it gets it. I don't also would go back socioeconomics, um, discipline. I mean the home, because those people, all the people we know that are captains of industry and upstanding people in our society who never did the military, they all will reflect back to somebody in their parenting, mom, dad, grandma, somebody who instilled those things in them.
mm-hmm,
And so the question or the answer would be, we have to get back to basics with parenting, and that's the root of everything. You got parents who don't have time to put all that nourishing and back into their child. You get what we get, and then we end up passing the buck on. That's what it seems like. We pass the buck to the teachers, and I guess in retrospect, I'm saying pass the buck to the drill sergeants. But it has to be it has to be a base starting position. Now
mm-hmm,
that needs to be um, a baseline. Parents we need to come across the same. Um, what's wrong is wrong. What's right is right, and don't let your child get away with this stuff. And then, like I said, an unruly child becomes a unruly adult.
mm-hmm.
That's why the police. That's why we have the police like we do, because people are ignorant of laws and they're doing things socioeconomics has mandated them to have to do. They feel like they have to do this in order to survive, and some of that stuff is not legal. And then you get those people to be parked behind an empty building, and the police come up to you and be like, "What you doing back here with this scantily dressed woman in passenger
Oh
seat?" And you
man,
like, "We just talking." Yeah, come on.
this brother's
You-
mind be going to some places, man.
I'm just saying, that's just what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
That's just what happens.
Yeah.
So it has to get back to the root cause, the parenting. Let's get back to good old fashioned parenting. How do we do that is the question.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll still stand on the answer to the question that I think everyone should do a stint in the military. You are
Mm-hmm,
correct, D Rose, that you can garner and gain some of those characteristics through other courses of life. If we're not going to mandate the military, then mandate some type of service. And I think one of the
Or
things,
the training.
or one of the things mentioned was the Peace Corps or Job Corps or something. But there should be some type of service that you have to do. For instance, when my boys were coming up to try to put in their applications for school, one of the things that a lot of admission offices would look at is community service.
mm-hmm.
So, and we knew that, so they would go down to the food bank and volunteer or
Okay.
whatever other volunteer service that you could do. But I still stand on it. Yeah, I believe you should do
uh,
military service, but if not military, then some type of service entity.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, so one of the things, again, I was playing devil's advocate
yeah,
against. if I'm arguing for, one of the things I did not hear you say is, like, everything I've heard the both of you say is the military service ought to be mandated because when someone goes through it, here are the things that happens to them. Here are the things that improves them as people.
Okay.
That's kind of what I heard. But what I didn't hear is what they do for the country, right? In other words, freedom has a price. And I think the real question is whether or not every citizen should help pay it.
Ah,
And that's not that's not the place that people's minds go to
Mm.
when you ask the question, should it be mandated? And I'm still, again, if I'm arguing for, that's the argument I'm going to have, right? So even it along the lines of what you guys said, maybe the debate isn't whether everyone should serve in the military, but whether everyone should be required to serve something greater than themselves, whatever that means, right? Because mandating military is like doing a draft almost. And here's the thing, Greg, you talked about how much of an athlete you were or are. I can draft your body, your physical presence, but I can't draft your conviction. Like, I can't draft the feeling of esprit de corps, the feeling of wanting to serve your country, the feeling of the sense of pride that you would get when you watch the Olympics and you see America doing, I don't care what sport it is, I'm looking to see where that American flag is and who's doing what, right? It's just, I can't draft that. I can draft your physical ability. And if it's just a game that we're going to play because it's mandated and you're just going to go through the motions, the question is that the desired outcome that you served, or is the desired outcome that you not only served, but you joined forces with a whole group of people who are all pushing towards that freedom?
Yeah.
That's very different, right? And so, again, man, I don't have, I can go either way. I personally, in being a minister, I'll just say, being a minister, you meet all kinds of people from all walks of life going through things that, you're just like, this particular person just flat out is not built for that. But they contribute a ton to society, right? They contribute a ton. And so I'm just simply saying that why not allow them to be who God intended them to be? I don't, mandating something doesn't sound like God intended that for that person. That's just what it feels like, right? So, y'all can mandate it if you want and go against God's will if you want. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I got access to God too. And he said, all these folks need to be 11 Bravo.
Okay,
move out,
right on.
draw 5.
Right
It's
on.
just 2 years.
Do you?
Just
Do
2
you?
years.
He didn't tell me that, but that's cool. I didn't get that
It's
memo.
just 2 years.
I might have been slipping that day in church, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just simply saying that, if we're going to take it there, he gives us gifts. He gives us calling. He gives us purpose. And mandating service is a man-made thing.
Okay.
Because nowhere in that would there be, this is what God intended. That wouldn't be there. That would be a man-made governmental thing. And so to make someone go through that, I would just hate for that to be in opposition of the gifts, the calling, and the purpose that someone has. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
One way that you can negate the mandate is if we instill what you were saying, that everybody has to participate in the freedom pursuit. And we can instill that in kids at a very young age, then they might feel more apt to participate, in that. Hey, freedom isn't free. We give them the speeches but I still believe that it all boils down to um, what we're teaching them at home. And that could be is the root of all the bad actors and all these very successful good people. Is
Mm-hmm.
the root is like you were saying, the village, home, and the village. My street here, we had a grandmama on every corner looking out the window, so you couldn't get away with anything. And we have gotten away from that, but being taught right and wrong and helping your fellow man and all that's if we can get it back to doing that at the home, we will release better human beings into society.
Mm.
But when we got these spoiled, rich, entitled monsters that are being produced,
Mm-hmm.
a friend of mine said we need to start. No, not a friend of mine. Plies, Reverend Plies said something that
Time
really shocked
flies.
me. Yes, he said, parents, we need to stop trying to produce football and basketball stars, and we need to start producing some congressmen and senators and people that make change for our community. And I was like, wow, that was profound. That's why I still remember it, because it came from him. Not saying that he don't have those. Not saying that he don't have these thoughts, but when I heard it, I was like, wow, that's profound.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the percentage of kids who actually make it to the pros.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, yeah. But that home base, and we can get back to the home base, and I think it's coming back. It's cyclical. I see it now. I see these younger parents um, disciplining their kids, and you don't have all them crazy wild kids in Walmart no more, and all that. So I see it coming back slowly, but I do see it coming back. Um, the home discipline at home, I do see it coming back.
Mm.
So that's a good thing.
Mm. Well,
But 2 years ain't gonna kill them. They can still have purpose and drive and do whatever the Lord called them for. But 2 years, it's not gonna kill
no, man, but everything what you just said is great. Sounds good. But when you look at what's happening, it's hard, man. It's hard to talk about the cost of freedom and serving when this, I'll just say it, there's a current administration who wants your service only when it's convenient. If you excel, you are now an inconvenience and you're forced to resign or you're held back. Right? Look at all of the generals, the high-ranking officials of color that are getting stopped, forced to resign, all these things. Yeah, your service is great as long as you stay in your place.
Yep.
And that is so hard to reconcile with everything we've been talking about today. Right? Because then would you as a parent want to send your child into that environment and say, be all that you can be, except for when you hit a certain level, and just know that when you get there, don't try to be all that you can be after that. Because, that is hard, man. That's hard. So
That's why we gotta vote.
you think that's it?
We gotta get them people out of there.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
but I hear that, Reg. And yes, don't get me wrong. That is an answer. That's one answer. The problem is that this current mindset brought a lot of people out of hiding that you wouldn't have known had these types of thoughts.
That's true.
Right? Brought
That
them
is
out
so
of hiding. Like people that you used to just kick it with and thought you were cool with, never knowing that they harbored these types of thoughts about you. And, it's like, wow, okay, now, which is cool. I like it. And here's why. Because now it makes you take a step back and say, I need to reevaluate some things.
Yeah.
Right. And so now head on a swivel. Right. Okay. That's where we are. Cool. But simply saying that, I just don't know that I could consciously tell my child, yeah, go do that. Knowing, like, if there's not a change at the highest levels,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. Yes, freedom is not free, but we'll get some a different way, because that right there is just not it. Right? I'm just saying. So
yeah, I think I'm tired of seeing the manufactured patriotism. When I walk down the street, and that's fine. Some people, they really believe in that. And you have American flag up in your garage or, hanging off your porch. It's fine. But a lot of people would voice certain things and never served, had no plans on serving. So I think between my family and my wife's family, we got somebody who served going back from World War II forward. World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the desert. So when I just come across people like that, I just when I know you didn't serve and you got this what I call manufactured patriotism, I don't think you could even talk to somebody like me or someone in my family who served for these stints. So
you remember when they was talking about bringing the draft back? And I was wondering, would there be? I was like, there shouldn't be space in line. There should be a whole line of red hats down there. We shouldn't be able to get in line because there's so many red hats at the recruiting station. But I guarantee you they wouldn't be. I guarantee you they wouldn't be. And like you said, that manufactured patriotism.
I don't know if it's manufactured patriotism as much as it is.
Not in all cases.
Well,
but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I get it. I understand the sentiment, but I think the word patriotism has been hijacked, and and all of the symbolisms that go with it has been hijacked. I think the word patriotism has been hijacked. I think the word evangelist or evangelism has been hijacked. Because if you in a certain setting and you just hear the word, I don't know about y'all, but certain images pop into my mind.
Yeah, evangelical, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, when they say that, yeah, it's been right.
And then two, if I'm riding down the street and I see an American flag, I know what it should mean to me. But head on a swivel because it's been hijacked.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I feel for. I shouldn't. It's messed up that I even feel this way, but I'm concerned about, say, food delivery drivers who have to pull up in a yard and wonder what they're going to deal with when they're trying to deliver food to someone who's flying the flag that we should all be proud of, because it's been hijacked. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And there have been a couple of cases where things went sideways. Yeah. And on the news, American flag waving while they're locking dude up. Right? So just saying, man, it's to mandate, to bring it back, just to mandate certain things, man. It 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 it's hard for me to right now to feel comfortable with that. Is all I'm saying. But hey, I ain't got all the answers. That's why I got the smart folks on here with me, so that y'all can lay it all down and solve all the problems of the world. But
civil service. We'll say, how about mandate civil service? How about we say that? And you get to choose which one you want to do, but you need to do something.
you gonna choose something home ec related.
Something. You gotta do something where you like G was saying, where you serve other people. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen.
Homeless shelter. Something. Go down there and serve soup or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up. But I think I understand where you guys are coming from. Wasn't trying to convince you otherwise, but I understand where you are. You feel like we should mandate this thing, and let the little ones have to, be prepared to go put in their time, because freedom ain't free.
That's right.
That's right. All right. I hear where you're coming from. So, any any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Good talk.
Family.
Okay.
Back to it.
Yeah.
Teaching discipline at the household, so society don't have to teach your child discipline.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Good talk.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess my what's on my mind right now, I guess, to close, is that if we didn't mandate, and if military service wasn't the answer or isn't the answer, then what common experience could still unite Americans with the same sense of duty, sacrifice, and shared purpose? Does one even exist? Now, that's just, a thought. Maybe it's a topic that we can tackle at some other time, but I just put that out there because I feel you. I understand the sentiment regarding mandated military service. However, I told you where I feel, where I land on that.
Yeah.
So
It's only been one. It's only been one way to do that, and you're wearing it on your shirt. When that happens, we together. We kumbayaing it over here in America.
right.
When we have a common enemy,
Mm-hmm.
that's unfortunately, and I think we've been designed to be that way. Because as soon as one of these super tragedies happen, everything go out the window. I mean, I was never so welcomed as I was after 9/11 by people who don't look like us. I was like, wow, okay.
And
But
the problem with that, Reg, and this is probably what's going to get me visited by a suit, is what happens when the enemy is already here? You know what I mean?
I was just giving you what could possibly bring us back.
I get it,
So,
but if the enemy is already on our soil,
Stay ready. So you have to get ready.
right? Readiness is one thing, but in terms of bringing everyone together, you know what I mean? And again,
Head on a swivel.
yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Head on a swivel. Yeah. Trust but verify.
that's it.
Trust but verify.
And I don't need nobody visiting me with no dark suits on and shades.
I'm having that put on the back of a cell phone case. In God we trust, all others we verify.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I don't need no visits, man. This is we're just talking. Look, we're just talking. I don't need.
If you would have hit the live button instead of the record button, you might have got a visitor. But you got.
All right. Well, look, fellas.
Approach with caution.
See, get it out. We gonna We're gonna stop it right there because I had to crank
It's a
it
good
back
stopping
up.
point right
Yeah,
there.
we're gonna crank it back up. All right. So listen, guys, I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, we need to do this again because I think there's some unresolved issues that we didn't get to the bottom of just then. I think y'all are being careful. But so with that, man, as always, man, may God bless you. May God keep you.
Appreciate
may God
yours.
continue to be with you, man. I
You as
appreciate you
well.
guys.
You
All
too
right.
as well.
All right.